Because I had mentioned a pregnant woman, let me also mention a woman that is breastfeeding. And unfortunately, in the last few, I think I heard the audio about 2 weeks ago. An audio went round also from one of the learned people. I think that must be said. If you have a different opinion from somebody, it does not mean that the person is not learned. Appreciate his knowledge. The person in the audio is a very learned person, one of our most learned persons in our country. So you cannot deny the fact that the person is knowledgeable. But it is not from the conditions of being knowledgeable that you are correct in every situation, in every time. In fact, the scholars say that one of the things by which you know a learned person is that he will err too. The one who does not err is claiming to be other than what he is, because Allah has not created a human being who does not err. So one of our learned elders in our country gave an audio recently about the ruling about a woman who is pregnant and a woman who is breastfeeding. And he was wrong. May Allah protect him and all of us. He was wrong in that ruling. He was wrong in the ruling. And many of the people were not comfortable with the expressions that were employed while affirming the position that he held. He employed expressions that may not have been employed. May Allah forgive all of us and him too. Hafizahullah. He had a view, and that view he gave is the view of Jumhur al-Ulama, the view of many of the scholars too. But it is a weaker view amongst the views. It's a weaker view. He presented it as the only correct view, but that's a wrong view. It is not the only correct view. That view is not the only view amongst the scholars. There are other views regarding it. Any of the books of fiqh. He said if you read any of the books of fiqh, this is the opinion that you see. Yes, they say that's the opinion of the Jumhur. But they will tell you there are other opinions too. The opinion of the Jumhur, yes. But they will tell you that there are other opinions. If you go to Al-Mughni by Imam Ibn Qudama, it's one of the biggest books of fiqh in the madhab of Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. You see this opinion there. This Shaykh we are talking about, he also cited Sharf al-Mumti by Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. This other opinion we want to mention now that we consider correct and Allah knows best was also mentioning that. But he was mentioning it as if it's a strange opinion that's not known from anywhere, from anybody, and it was imported into Nigeria. Everybody who is a student of knowledge, who has Al-Mughni, has also imported the opinion. It also occurs in Al-Istizkar by Imam Ibn Abdul Barr al-Namri. Al-Istizkar is a big book of Sunnah by Ibn Abdul Barr. Ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah, is a late 3rd century scholar of Islam. And he has that view. And he was ascribing the view to the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in that audio, the Shaykh Hafizahullah was mentioning as if that opinion is strange. It is not a strange opinion. It is the opinion of the companions. And it occurs in the books of fiqh. What is that opinion? The opinion is that a woman who is pregnant or a woman who is breastfeeding, if pregnancy and breastfeeding becomes inconvenient for them in the month of Ramadan, if breastfeeding and the pregnancy becomes a means of discomfort for them, so much that it could cause them harm, either to them or to their children in the month of Ramadan, they are allowed to break the fast. They will not fast. And they will feed a fasting person for every day of fast alone, without paying back the fast after Ramadan. This view that we hold to be correct, that is the view of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it is sufficient. If you say a view is wrong, and we are saying that that view is the view of the companions, should we leave the companions and follow you, no matter how knowledgeable you may be? We cannot follow you, we follow the companions. Radiyallahu anhum. And that is the way of the early Muslims. So Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu was the first person that was mentioned. And he said, radiyallahu anhu, that إِذَا خَافَتِ الْحَامِلُ عَلَى نَفْسِهَا, when a pregnant woman becomes fearful for herself, in the month of Ramadan. وَالْمُرْضِعُ عَلَى وَلَدِهَا. And the woman who is breastfeeding, she becomes fearful for her child in the month of Ramadan, in the month of Ramadan. That is, the woman who is pregnant begins to fear that fasting the month of Ramadan may cause harm to me. The woman who is breastfeeding begins to fear for her child. Fasting in Ramadan may not make this child to have good food, may not make the child to have sufficient food to eat, sufficient breast milk to survive with in the month of Ramadan. When the woman who is breastfeeding begins to fear this, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, Yuftiran, the woman who is pregnant and the woman who is breastfeeding, he said, Yuftiran, the two of them will make iftar. That is, they will stop fasting, or that they will not fast on those days of Ramadan. وَيُطْعِمَانِ, and then they will feed some people. They will feed the Tu'amu Miskin. They will make Fidyah. It says, فَفِدْيَةٌ Tu'amu Miskin. They will make Fidyah to Tu'amu Miskin. They will look for poor persons in the month of Ramadan and feed them. They will feed them in the month of Ramadan. كُلَّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. It says, وَيُطْعِمَانِ مَكَانَ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. وَيُطْعِمَانِ مَكَانَ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. They will feed a poor person in place of every fasting day. He said, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمَا وَلَا يَقُضِيَانِ صَوْمًا. Abdullah ibn Abbas said, وَلَا يَقُضِيَانِ. They will not make qadar. But the doctor, Hafizahullah, when he made his assertion, he said, Abdullah ibn Abbas did not say that they will not make qadar. This is a clear-cut riwayah from Abdullah ibn Abbas when he says, وَلَا يَقُضِيَانِ. They will not make qadar, meaning that the woman who is breastfeeding, who fears that the child may not get sufficient milk, or the woman who is pregnant, who fears that the fasting may become a means of a big discomfort for her if she continues to fast. These two people, Yuftiran, Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiyallahu anhuma, wa huwa man huwa, radiyallahu anhuma. He said, Yuftiran. These two groups of people will make iftar. They will not fast on that day. وَيُطْعِمَانِ مَكَانَ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. And they will feed a miskin, a poor, needy person, مَكَانَ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ, in place of every day in the month of Ramadan. وَلَا يَقْضِيَانِ. Ibn Abbas said, radiyallahu anhuma, وَلَا يَقْضِيَانِ صَوْمًا. They will not pay back those days after Ramadan. Also, this is one statement from Abdullah ibn Abbas. Abdullah ibn Abbas had a woman, a slave, who was pregnant for him. You know, it's allowed for a Muslim to have ma malakat yaminu, a woman who he is his slave, and he meets her. She could become pregnant and then have children for him. This woman asked Abdullah ibn Umar when she was pregnant about her condition. And he said, radiyallahu anhuma, anti bi manzilatil kabir. Abdullah ibn Abbas said that a woman who is pregnant, bi manzilatil kabir, la yutiqu siyam, is in the condition, in the position of an elderly person, male or female, who may not be able to fast. Abdullah ibn Abbas said, radiyallahu anhuma, that a woman who is pregnant, بِمَنْزِلَةِ الْكَبِيرِ الَّذِي لَا يُطِيقُ الصِّيَامِ, is in the status of an elderly person who may not be able to fast. Abdullah ibn Abbas said so to his woman who was pregnant in the month of Ramadan. So he said, radiyallahu anhuma, فَأَفْطِرِي, so make iftar, break your fast. وَأَطْعِمِي عَنْ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ, make it'am, feed a fasting person. عن كل يوم نصف صاع من حنطة. Make نصف صاع. نصف صاع. صاع is if you combine your hand 4 times. That's a full صاع. We discussed this on the issues of Zakatul Fitr. Half of that, meaning 2 handfuls, 2 double handfuls. So he's also telling her what she will provide. So Ibn Abbas's fatwa to his household is that a woman who is pregnant, she will make iftar and she will make it'amu miskin. This is the second statement from Abdullah ibn Abbas. There are others. That is why if we go to Al-Istizkar by Al-Imam Ibn Abdul Barr. Ibn Abdul Barr al-Namri is a 3rd century scholar of Islam, one of the biggest people in the mazhab of Al-Imam Malik, rahimahullah. Al-Imam Abu Umar Ibn Abdul Barr al-Namri, rahimahullah. He says, Rawahu an Ibn Abbas. Before that, he says, Qala Ishaq ibn Rahway. Ishaq ibn Rahway is the teacher of Al-Imam al-Bukhari. It is in the status of the likes of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Ishaq ibn Ibrahim al-Hanzali ibn Rahwaya, rahimahullah. It's in the status of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. He's a big scholar of Sunnah, a big scholar of Hadith and Fiqh. He says, وَالَّذِي أَذْهَبُ إِلَيْهِ فِي الْحَامِلِ. What I view, what I consider appropriate regarding a woman who is pregnant, وَالْمُرْضِعِ, and a woman who is breastfeeding her child is that, and yuftira, these people should not fast. They should break their fast in the month of Ramadan. وَيُطْعِمَا, and they will feed a fasting person in the month of Ramadan. Ishaq ibn Ibrahim ibn Rahwaya, rahimahullah, he says, وَلَا قَضَاءَ عَلَيْهِمَا. There is no qada'u alayhima. So the position of Ishaq ibn Ibrahim, also ibn Rahwaya, is that la qada'a alayhima. They will not make qada. They will not pay back that fast after Ramadan. Ittiba'an li Ibn Abbas wa Ibn Umar, by way of following Ibn Abbas. Because the doctor gave a view as if to say that Ibn Abbas is saying that the women who are fasting, the women who are not fasting, who are pregnant and carrying the children, should pay back if they make fidyah, or that at least they should pay back after Ramadan because they have the ability. They are like the sick person or the person upon a journey. We read the statement of Ibn Abbas that a woman who is pregnant is like Al-Kabir. So Ibn Abbas makes us understand the view of Abdullah ibn Abbas, and that is better for us. Abdullah ibn Abbas considers a woman who is pregnant or a woman who is carrying a baby to be in the status of a woman or a man who is of old age. That is the fiqh of Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, and that is the fatwa of Abdullah ibn Abbas. And when he explained وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُسِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ, he lined up the elderly male and the elderly female, the woman who is pregnant and the woman who is breastfeeding. He lined up these 4 together. So the view of Ibn Abbas is not that a woman should make qada. The view of Ibn Abbas is that she should make fidyah. She should fast. She should not fast in Ramadan. She should make fidyah. That is upon the conditions that we had mentioned. She may break her fast in Ramadan. And then she may feed, and she will feed a fasting person in the month of Ramadan. وَلَا قَضَاءَ عَلَيْهَا. She will not have to pay back that fast after Ramadan. She will not have to pay back that fast after Ramadan. لَا قَضَاءَ عَلَيْهَا. After stating this view of Ishaq ibn Ibrahim ibn Rahwaya and ascribing it to Ibn Abbas and Abdullah ibn Umar, Al-Imam ibn Abdul Bari said, Rawahu an Ibn Abbas. Rawahu an Ibn Abbas, Sa'id ibn Jubair, wa Ata'u wa Ikrima. Rawahu an Ibn Abbas. This view has been reported variously from Abdullah ibn Abbas. By who? Sa'id ibn Jubair, one of the biggest students of Abdullah ibn Abbas. Wa Ata'u, Al-Imam Ata'u ibn Abi Rabah. He also reported this view from Abdullah ibn Abbas. Wa Ikrima, Al-Imam Ikrima al-Barbari, rahimahullah. He also reported it from Abdullah ibn Abbas. He said, rahimahullah, bi afani da hisan. And these chains of reports of this view from Ibn Abbas, they are authentic. That's what? Annahuma tuftiran. That a woman who is breastfeeding and a woman who is pregnant, tuftirani wa tut'imani, they will both not fast in the month of Ramadan upon the conditions that we had mentioned. When she fears for, the both of them fear for their children or themselves, tuftiran, they will make iftar, wa tut'iman, but they will feed fasting persons, the two of them. It says, wala qada'a alayhim. There is no making qada. To ascribe making qada to Ibn Abbas is a strange view. To say that Ibn Abbas didn't mention it because he knew that you will pay back the fast. It is not. The view of Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, is that if a woman is pregnant or that a woman is breastfeeding, she should rather break her fast and feed a fasting person. Wala qada alayhima. There is no qada upon them. That's also the view of Abdullah ibn Umar. A woman came to Abdullah ibn Umar and asked radiallahu anhuma and asked regarding that. Nafi, the teacher of Al-Imam Malik, reported that. Says, Kanat bintun ibn Umar. The daughter of Abdullah ibn Umar, tahta rajulin min Quraysh, who was a wife, the woman from amongst the Quraysh, was asking Ibn Umar, wa kanat hamila. That woman was pregnant. So فَأَصَابَهَا عَطَشٌ فِي Ramadan. She became very thirsty, seriously thirsty in the month of Ramadan. فَأَمَرَهَا Ibn Umar. Ibn Umar commanded his own daughter to do what? And to ftira. She should break her fast in the month of Ramadan. وَتُطْعِمَ عَنْ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا. Then she should feed a poor person. Feed a poor person. Feed a poor person. Don't forget, not just feed somebody. Feed a poor person. That is the meaning of fidyah. Allah explained it in the Quran. Fidyatun ta'amu miskin. It's a fidyah is a provision of food for somebody who is needy, who is poor. Because it is not just about feeding somebody. Let's take note of these women when we want to distribute food for our fidyah. Look for somebody who is poor. Look for somebody who is in the position of a needy. So this is the position of Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abdullah ibn Umar. And they were both explaining the verse, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُتِقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. This position is the Allahu Alam, most correct of the view. Because these two companions, like Al-Imam Ibn Qudama said in Al-Mughni, we do not know any other companion who has a different view. Any other view regarding this matter is from lower than the companions. So the view of the companions, one of our teachers, specifically Shaykh Mashur Hassan al-Salman, he said this is also the view of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari and Aisha radiallahu anha. I have not seen this asar, but he mentioned it, Hafizahullah, that this view of Ibn Umar and Ibn Abbas is also the view of who? Jabir ibn Abdullah and our mother Aisha radiallahu anha. So I think that suffices for us. The time is fast spent, but I think if it is just upon this that we can stop up over, it suffices for us. Ramadan is just by the way, by the corner. There will be subsequent programs where the issues of Ramadan will be discussed. I beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it beneficial to us all, to make us also people who will be successful, who will gain tremendous rewards in the month of Ramadan.